What have you learnt from your audience feedback?
Our audience feedback was essential in that we were able to improve and develop our trailer in a particular manner to engage our target audience. It also allowed us to uncover typical thriller conventions through understanding what our audience expected to see from our trailer, applying to the pluralist theory that the media operates on a supply and demand basis, and so the media must give the audience what it wants in order to survive and be successful. Character relationship. On receiving audience feedback, it was evident that the relationship between the characters was unclear, therefore reducing the build-up of the narrative and consequently the tension, as the audience was confused by who each character was in relation to one another. To solve this, we implemented a non-diegetic conversation between the antagonist and her friend Caleb, whereby they discuss the return of his older brother Brad and establish how he is not particularly liked. This establishment was only made clear through the voiceover, and without this particular audience feedback, a narrative would have lacked the logical foundations of character relationships. With the implementation of this conversation, we altered the whole order of the character establishments, whereby Annabelle was initially introduced after Brad. However, due to Annabelle's significance, we saw that her appearance should be one of the first, thus leaving Brad as a mystery character until his appearance in the next scene. This change seemed to resonate well with the audience as they came to learn that Annabelle and Caleb are in fact best friends as opposed to being in a relationship, which they initially interpreted from our trailer. This knowledge that they are friends rather than in a relationship is significant in depicting Annabelle as independent and wary of men, which soon becomes a clear factor in our trailer. Flashbacks. Initially, we had a scene of Brad walking in on Annabelle whilst in the bath. However, the audience perceived this scene as comical as opposed to unnerving. We therefore decided to use flashbacks to present this invasive act in order to demonstrate how Annabelle is haunted by it and likely to devise a plan for revenge. Through the use of misty overlays, we created the notion of flashback to make it clear for the audience. When our audience watched the altered version, they found it to be far more ambiguous as they are watching the situation through the antagonist's memory, thus enhancing the creepy nature of his invasive entry into the bathroom. Some of our audience feedback also stated how Annabelle's motives for revenge are unclear. Through these flashbacks, her anger is increasingly demonstrated and therefore allows the audience to witness her psychotic demeanour developing.
Title.
After showing the first draft of our trailer to the rest of the class, we decided to change the title of our film from Disingenuous to Siren, as although disingenuous meant pretending that one knows less about something than one really does, which relates to Annabelle and how she feels about Brad stalking her, not many people know the meaning of the word, leading to confusion for the audience as they were unable to make the link between the meaning and our trailer. After a long discussion, we decided Siren would be a better suited name for our film, as the mythological creature are well known. We also wanted to portray Annabelle as a siren, as towards the end of the film, Annabelle lures Brad in before getting revenge for his intimidating actions. One key scene in our trailer is when Annabelle is in the bath and Brad walks in on her. This scene can be seen as Brad having the power and dominance over Annabelle, as she looks physically vulnerable, coupled with his menacing expression.
Additional scenes.
In addition to the adding of the voiceover, we included innocent scenes of Annabelle and Caleb playing on swings in the park and messing about generally to establish the nature of their relationship, which is one of innocence and potential naivety, until it becomes clear that Annabelle possesses a more threatening agenda. We also decided to cut out the drug scene as it made our media product feel more like a short film than a film trailer, which then led to us changing the orange juice, which had originally put vitamin C tablet in it, to make it look like drugs. Some of the feedback said that it didn't look very realistic and the footage wasn't filmed at the best angle, so we decided to change it to a beer bottle, helping to make the drug shots more realistic as the audience were unable to view what was occurring in regards to the drugs dissolving. Moreover, the use of a beer bottle established Brad as a mature teenager who could very easily intimidate others, a young female in particular. The use of the power from an antibiotic capsule also helped to ensure the realism of the shot, as the white powder looked and resembled drugs.
Font. We used standard Microsoft Word fonts initially, as this was the easiest software to use. However, by showing the Year 10 class our trailer, a high majority of them said they felt the title was too bland and did not reflect our theme. We used DaFont to improve the uniqueness of our title. DaFont offers thousands of different fonts free of charge. We found a font we thought worked well with the genre of our trailer. However, through further feedback, we learned that this was not the case. Feedback suggested that the font was too horror-like and did not convey a social realism aspect of the trailer. We changed our font to a more simple design, and our audience said that it was an improvement and that it runs parallel to the themes of our trailer. As it is effective in portraying themes and our genre, we used the same font for all of our typography for our trailer, as well as our poster and website to establish brand cohesion. Caleb. During the planning and storyboarding stage, we decided to cast the character of Caleb as homosexual. We did this because we wanted to give Caleb a definitive aspect that Brad can mock him for, to give Brad the antagonist role. This in turn would make the audience dislike Brad and sympathise with Caleb, fueling the subversion of the narrative later on in the trailer. However, it was very difficult to portray Caleb as a homosexual. Due to the fact that Caleb is only 16, it is highly unlikely that he'll be open and obvious about his sexuality, especially due to his social class and his brother's mockery. Attempting to subtly portray him as gay was difficult, and our footage of him was cliché and uncomfortable to watch. Furthermore, through audience feedback of our initial film trailer drafts, we found that the audience either did not realise Caleb's character was homosexual, or they did but found it brought little meaning to the character or the plot. As Caleb's homosexuality is irrelevant and unnecessary to highlight, we decided to discard the idea.